Hey, good morning. This is encouragement and motivation from my heart, and I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend this past weekend. It was really nice. Me and my husband got to get all dressed up to go to a ball, which was really nice. Felt like a pretty princess. But today I want to talk to you about a couple of stories. I do 3 or 4 different devotions first thing when I wake up in the morning. And in both devotions, although they were 2 separate devotions, there was a common theme in both of them. And it was sometimes saying yes can be good, but a hard yes because of what you have to endure through it. And the 2 stories that I read about was Joseph and Mary. Now, Joseph is not Mary's husband. Joseph is the one that we've talked about previously as far as his brothers, sold him into slavery, and then he found favor with one of the kings and said, you can have anything, just not my wife. And then his wife tried getting Joseph to have relations with her, and he said no and ran, and then he got put into jail. But then even through all of that, and when he was presented with being ahead of like all the guardsmen and stuff, he said yes. And he said yes to interpreting those dreams that the 2 prisoners had. And that took a lot of boldness and courage. I would like to have that kind of boldness, because a lot of times I'm sitting here worrying about what I'm saying and if I'm saying it right. And he just spoke exactly. I wonder what was going through his mind at this time. And then we have, after that, Joseph was still in jail, and Pharaoh, I believe it was Pharaoh, had a dream, and Joseph was the one who interpreted it. And then Joseph was put ahead of rationing out all the food for all of Egypt. And he said yes. No experience, but he said yes. So first, I want to say, let me have that kind of boldness. Let me have that kind of courage. Joseph said yes to a lot of things, but there was a lot of trial during that time frame as he was saying yes. And then we have Mary. Mary was, and I don't know why I never did see this before. Like, I knew the story because we all know the Christmas story. But Mary was approached by an angel, and she was told that she was highly favored. Her reaction was much like ours would be, why are you saying this to me? That's kind of weird you're saying this to me when you don't know me. And then what followed after that was she said yes to being a virgin and carrying Jesus. But what else came with her yes? She said yes to being ridiculed by all those who see that she was pregnant, and her and Joseph were not married yet. She said yes to seeing her son persecuted and ridiculed and talked about. And she said yes to not having full control in Jesus' life. And as a mom, when I think about that, what Mary could have gone through, or what she did go through, that would be a little tough. So Mary said a lot of hard yeses, but the outcome of it was amazing. And she trusted, she believed, she had, in both of their stories, they had braveness and boldness. But most importantly, there were times when they were saying yes to things that, for God, that still had difficulty. So this led me into a question for today and for this week is, what are you saying yes to? And is it the right yes? And will it lead you to where God ultimately wants you to be? But just remember, in those yeses that you say yes just because you go through a hard time does not mean that it was the wrong yes. Because just as Mary and Joseph's story, they had difficult time. This just means that we just have to, with the boldness and the braveness, continue going forward in that difficult time and not give up. Because that's what we want to do, is give up. and back out and say maybe we made the wrong choice. But just as Joseph and Mary kept going forward in what they said yes to, I want you guys to do that this week too. Be bold and be brave. Say yes to the right things. Look at what you're saying yes to. And if it's not helping you go to where God wants you to ultimately be, then let it go. This is encouragement and motivation from my heart, and I pray that you guys are encouraged by these two stories of Joseph and Mary, just as I was this morning. I hope you guys have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.